Your friend just got their third tattoo this year. Your Instagram feed is a gallery of fresh ink. 46% of millennials are walking around with tattoos, but you, completely blank skin. And somehow, you're the weird one for not permanently marking your body with something you liked when you were 23. Here's what nobody's talking about. The psychology behind staying tattoo-free is actually more complex than getting inked, and it has nothing to do with fear or being boring. It's about how your brain thinks about the future differently than everyone else. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you will completely change how you see your decision to stay tattoo-free. Let's start with something wild. You spent 3 hours researching which phone to buy because you'll use it for 2 years. You agonize over paint colors because you'll see that wall every day. But a tattoo? Something that'll be on your body for 50 years? People tell you you're overthinking it. Here's the truth. You're not overthinking. You're actually thinking correctly. And psychologically, that's not indecision. That's sophisticated future thinking. Psychologists call this future self-continuity. Here's what it means in simple terms. Some people can actually picture their future self clearly. Not just imagine it, but feel it. When you think about getting a tattoo, your brain automatically fast-forwards 20 years. You can see yourself at 45. You can feel what that version of you will think. And suddenly, that design you love right now doesn't feel so permanent-worthy anymore. Research from UCLA psychologist Hal Hershfield proves this is real. Your brain isn't being difficult. It's protecting a version of you that doesn't exist yet. Your brain isn't indecisive. It's time-traveling. It's running simulations of future regret before you even make the mistake. Studies show this trait, called temporal discounting awareness, is linked to better long-term decision-making across every area of life. The same brain that hesitates on tattoos probably also made you save money instead of blowing it, choose the stable job over the risky one, and think twice before sending that angry text. You're not commitment phobic. You're just thinking 3 steps ahead while everyone else is focused on right now. But here's where it gets deeper. Some people without tattoos see themselves differently. Psychologists call it fluid identity orientation. Sounds complicated, but it's actually simple. You don't feel like a finished person yet. What you love today might bore you in 5 years. Who you are right now isn't who you'll be at 35 or 45 or 60. And that's not being flaky. That's being honest about how humans actually work. Think about it like this. A tattoo is basically your current self making a permanent choice for all your future selves. The you at 23 picking something that the you at 50 has to live with. That's a huge responsibility. And here's the real question. What if the band you love right now breaks up? What if that symbol stops meaning what it means today? What if you grow into someone completely different? Some people are okay with that risk, but your brain isn't. Your brain sees every future version of you as equally important, and it refuses to let one version overrule all the others. Developmental psychologist James Marcia studied this for years. He found that when people commit to an identity too early, before they've really explored who they are, they close off future possibilities. He called it identity foreclosure. Here's what that looks like in real life. You get a tattoo of your college logo because you love your school. 10 years later, you realize that experience, while important, doesn't define your entire life, but it's literally written on your body forever. Your brain is protecting you from locking yourself into an identity you haven't fully figured out yet. And honestly, that might be the smartest thing it ever does. Here's the part nobody admits. Even though tattoos are everywhere now, your brain is still calculating risks. Will this affect job interviews? What will my parents think? What about 5 years from now when I'm in a different industry? And here's what's interesting. Research shows people without tattoos are more aware how others see them. Not in an insecure way, in a strategic way. They care about controlling their first impression. Psychologists call this impression management. You see your appearance as something you can adjust based on the situation. But a tattoo? That's permanent. You can't take it off for a job interview or a family wedding. Once it's there, it's always there. Now here's the real question. Is that smart thinking or just anxiety? Some people are being thoughtful. Others are holding back their self-expression because they're scared of judgment. The difference matters. Now let me tell you about something beautiful that most people miss. Some people see their blank skin as a conscious choice, not because they're scared, not because they can't commit, but because they genuinely prefer simplicity. Think of it like minimalism, but for your body. They look at their unmarked skin and feel the same way minimalists feel about empty space in a room. Clean, simple, intentional.
Psychologists call this intrinsic identity orientation. Here's what it means. These people don't need external symbols to know who they are. They don't need a tattoo to remember what they love or what they've survived. They carry all of that internally, and there's something powerful about that. In a world constantly screaming at you to express yourself, make a statement, stand out, choosing quiet simplicity is its own form of rebellion. Here's something that'll change how you think about memory. Not everyone needs physical reminders to remember important things. Research shows that some people's brains process meaningful experiences differently. They live moments fully, intensely, completely, and those memories stick without needing a permanent marker. It's like how you don't need a photo of every meal to remember a great dinner. Some experiences are just burned into your brain naturally. You don't forget your best friend because you don't have their name tattooed on you. You don't forget the person who changed your life because their face isn't on your arm. The memory exists independently. It doesn't need ink to be real. Let's talk about something uncomfortable. Society has created this narrative that tattoos equal depth, that ink equals meaning, that if your skin is blank, you must be boring. But that's just marketing disguised as philosophy. Meaning doesn't need a billboard on your body. Some of the deepest, most interesting people you'll ever meet don't have a single tattoo. They feel intense connections to ideas, people, and moments. They just don't need to advertise it. They're not less attached to what matters. They're just differently attached. Studies show there's zero correlation between having tattoos and being an interesting person. The ink doesn't make you deep. Your thoughts do, your experiences do, your relationships do. The tattoo is just decoration. But let's be brutally honest about one more thing. Some people don't get tattoos because they're genuinely scared. Scared of the pain, scared of commitment, scared of regretting it forever. And they dress that fear up in philosophy to avoid admitting it. There's a massive difference between making a conscious choice and making an excuse. If you've genuinely decided blank skin aligns with who you are, that's powerful. If you're just terrified of making any permanent choice, that's different, and only you know which one is true. Be honest with yourself about it. So here's the real question that matters. Which one are you? Did you consciously choose to keep your blank skin because it aligns with how you see yourself? Or are you avoiding tattoos because you're scared of committing to anything permanent? Only you know the answer, and that answer reveals way more about your psychology than any tattoo ever could. Here's what you need to understand. Staying tattoo-free is just as valid and complex as getting inked. It's not about being boring. It's not about being scared. It's not about judging people who have tattoos. It's about thinking long-term. It's about seeing yourself as someone who's still evolving. It's about being strategic with how you present yourself. It's sometimes about preferring simplicity. Both choices answer the same question. Who am I and how do I want to show up? Your answer doesn't need to be written on your skin to matter. The next time someone asks why you don't have tattoos, you don't owe them anything. But if you want an explanation, here it is. Your brain processes time, identity, and permanence differently. You think about future consequences before they happen. You see yourself as constantly changing. You value internal meaning over external symbols. You're not less expressive, you're just expressing in a different way. And that's not a weakness. That's clarity about who you are. So here's my final question for you. Are you team blank skin or team ink? And more importantly, do you actually know why you chose what you chose? Drop your answer in the comments.